Hello, everybody, and I have frozen us in not great looks.
Oh, goodness.
Here we go. All right, we're unfrozen. Uh, I
Should we make
just,
weird faces anyway?
um, I don't, well, I don't think I can talk that way. Uh, and B, I think I managed to really choose poorly on my setup for tonight with the OBS, but you know what? We'll make it work. All right. So, welcome to Building Navyshla. Building Navyshla is just a little talk showy thing, I guess, where we are talking about our new characters for our new homebrew world, Navyshla. And I'm putting a lot of emphasis on the word our because it's being co-created. And so we've had 4 of these so far, and the way we're doing this is the 5 players are coming on for this game and telling me a little bit about their character. And as they tell me a little bit about the character, we decide how they are influenced by things in the world, not that have already been created, but just how did you want that to happen? And then we, praying. Now it's canon. And so that's kind of what we're doing. We're in our, like I said, this is our last individual one for the first group, the first campaign, and it will. After this, we'll do a group one, and then after that, we're gonna start playing the game, I guess, eventually. Um, but well, actually, I have a lot of work to do after that, so that there's still surprises for the group. But once we get this stuff done, then I have some very strong foundations to work off of for creating monsters and scenes and try to create some things that are actually going to be really engaging for the players because they've kind of told me what they're looking for by showing me the builds and then creating part of the world. So that's what we're doing. Uh, a couple things to know as we get started. There's really only one major thing about Navyshla, and that is there are no dragons because the dragons are gods. There are 15 dragons, and they are the deities. They are the prime deities of Navyshla, and they follow the Fizban's dragons. So there's no Tiamat, there's no Bahamut, there's no Sardior, I guess, is the gem dragon god. I kind of know that from breezing through that book. Um, but there will be 5 gem dragons, 5 metallic dragons, 5 chromatic dragons of the typical D&D colors, but they each will have a name and act as deities. And also further, I guess, none of them have a portfolio. So like it's not like Jeff the god of hairdos, like all Jeff does is really help people have great coiffs and excellent, maybe he has an adjacent thing with fashion and he's really the god of sartorial goodness or whatever. That's his portfolio. That's not what we're doing. All these are 15 gods, and one of them's not like the god of lightning and chaos. They're just they do what they do, and they tend to lean into their personality types. And so people have a god that one of these dragons they like. They pray to that one. That one leans into us. So the red dragon, we're not doing a lot of evil, but we are going to do a lot of selfish and chaotic. And so if you're into the red dragon kind of thing, well, that tells a little story there too. That makes sense? All right. I'm saying this as if, it's just Robyn and I having a conversation, like, because I always like to check how many people are watching. And the answer to that is almost always 3. Uh-oh, I think I killed my Twitch. I don't know who's watching and I don't care. If you text something in there, I am really likely to miss it. I should probably not do that. I'll open a Twitch. Okay, so Robyn,
Mm-hmm.
first off, what are we drinking tonight? It's
Oh,
my favorite question.
yeah. I'm drinking. What am I drinking? Ginger beer.
Yay!
And I took Paige's suggestion and got the brand Bundaberg. Is that what she says it?
Ah,
I don't know. Yeah, it's in a glass though because I couldn't drink out of the bottle.
I also am having Bundaberg, and it is delightful. Uh,
Yes.
and I'm drinking it straight out of the bottle because I'm too lazy to get a glass. Um, Robyn is absolutely correct. It is awkward to drink out of the bottle, but I don't feel like getting up and getting one. So here we go. Well, cheers. So, who's your character?
Oh, my character, his name is Earl Everly Sinclair.
Earl Everly Sinclair.
Yes.
Has the whiff, not that I want to place anything on this, has the whiff of nobility to it.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Is Earl
Yes.
a name or a title?
It is a name.
Okay. He is
Yeah.
not the Earl Everly
Nope.
Sinclair.
He is
Okay.
the 5th son.
Oh,
He's the 5th son of the High Shepherd of Aspen Vale.
of
So,
Aspen Vale.
yeah, I have
Fun.
no idea where that is because geography I watched the map segments before,
Okay.
but, not really great with geography.
Well, you
But
don't
that's
have to
the
be.
name of it's a very pastoral countryside, very peaceful area.
We're good.
They live in the village of Garland, and they raise sheep and cultivate plants to color the wool and dye it different colors. It's a very, very nice little area.
Okay. Well, so one of the things that has been sort of a struggle with doing these conversations is the fact that I'm not sharing this screen in a very useful way to the person I'm talking to. Like, the
Okay.
best way for you to see the map is actually Twitch. Um, so,
I could probably do that.
okay, I can
Have windows.
copy and paste it into the Discord so you could look at it there if that would be easier.
No, it's right there.
Okay,
I see it.
so that's Ervocale, and Aspen Vale does not have to be on Ervocale. Is Aspen Vale is not one of the places we've created yet, is it?
No, it
Okay,
was a name that I
it,
thought sounded cool.
it is very cool. I like it. So, are we staying on Ervocale, or do you want to be from outside of this region?
It would be good to be from outside the region.
Okay, so let's back this truck up. Navyshla. And we'll zoom. So, right now, uh, we have this area here near the Bellaforth Wastes on the continent. Now I'll zoom out here. There's a big old continent with a land
Right.
bridge. Uh, and there is the sort of nation of Divana there. Um,
Mhm.
and last time we had a convo, Chris named this area. Well, he didn't. We used the free namer, but this
Yep.
is where he's coming from, Sullen Glen.
Mhm.
This area, the southern part of the continent here, is mostly wastes. There
Right.
are settlements, but mostly wastes. That's what's been determined so far there. Here, we don't know too much, but we know Dawson's character came from this side of the world and was part of a cult that, sort of like the Pentaveret, threatened a worldwide coup, and they got shut down Templar style, and he went undercover and fled to Ervocale. That's all we know about this side. So, is there a place that piqued, or do you want to be from even farther?
I don't think I need to be from that far away, but I'm just thinking it might like I'm looking to see are there land masses established in
No,
that area? Is it okay?
everything is pretty much a blank canvas. Other than I randomly selected this out of all of the randomly generated continent patterns that Wonderdraft can
Yeah.
make.
I mean, it could be kind of like a maybe a like isolated area. So, like I don't know, I'm not again
How about
geography, but like mountains where like a plateau within mountains, so it would be a little harder to get up and down or something like that where they just kind of tend to keep to themselves.
okay? if I believe every one of these hexes is about 100 miles. So whereabouts? So you can travel a hex in 3 days. Well, 5 days if you're going normal speed. Um, where are you thinking? Because I could see coming from this like making this a mountainous island
Okay.
with like a whole bunch of peaks and then inside like almost like in a caldera. Uh,
Yeah.
would that be cool?
Yeah, that would work.
Okay. And so Aspen Vale could do something with that. Labels. Don't like labeling. I cannot remember views for my labeling. Here. All right, 2 words, 1 word. How did you have it spelled
I
in your
had it
mind?
as 2 words, like the tree and
Aspen
veil,
Vale.
like Vale.
V-A. Oh, not Vale.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Like going skiing in Colorado Vale.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, or V
Oh,
yeah, I guess
V-A-L. Is it?
Vale.
Oh,
I
it's with
don't
an
know,
E.
that's how I
I
spelled it,
don't
but
know. I'm not cool enough for that. Oh,
spelling isn't my strength.
Aspen Vale. There we go. Now I've got it correct. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw. Okay, so we now know where that is, and tell us about being the fifth son of the. I, so I'm not taking any notes so that I can stay engaged in the talk, and then I'm planning
That's
to
alright.
listen to all of these and take notes while as I start building stuff out in World Anvil. So,
Yeah,
um,
the title, the nobility title, I thought, like, because it is so sheep-based, the High Shepherd is
ah,
his father's title, and he kind of, takes care of the area. So being the 5th son, there's not really a role for Earl. He hasn't found his niche really. It doesn't, because his oldest brother, is probably gonna follow in his father's footsteps, and
mm,
he has a brother who, they have like, a church that his brother's, like, the head of or going to be, the second brother is, very involved in there's a lot of rituals and rites with, wanting to do everything right. So you've got good harvest and you've got healthy livestock and then one of his brothers is a merchant and has made connections where they sell mutton and they sell wool and things like that, and so Earl has tried his hand at a few things, like literally being a shepherd. Um, Not the greatest at that.
mm,
The wolves kinda scare him and get to him, and, he's tried his hand with the church and initially was more of a layperson.
mm.
Didn't really click with the what he feels very superstitious and ritualistic, worship practices of the people, of Aspen Vale. So he's just never really settled in on what his path in life is gonna look like.
So is that what drove him out of the mountain here? This, and by the way, I'm picking up the shepherd, but this is also a very pastoral. So this plateau. Okay, so this. All right, I've got a picture. So like a mountain that has got a plateau on it that has got vegetation growing on it that support
Right.
sheeping. That's what we do. We sheep. Uh,
Yep.
but
That's
but
that's what they do. They
but
are sheepers.
they're sheepers. But okay. So and they are by choice and by design and hope isolated.
Yeah, I think it wasn't like let's go here because it's isolated. It's this is great land for the sheep and we've settled here and we're happy here and you know we're being taken care of here. So, and why go beyond that if we don't have to?
Okay.
So, yeah, bit isolated.
So Earl finds no role necessarily for him as a nobleman's son.
Not the yeah,
Not
not
working out.
not really.
One too many kids, as
Mhm.
it turns out. So, is that the driving motivation to get on a boat or put on the walking shoes?
Um, so he has actually been pledged to he has a betrothed that
Oh,
they're a daughter of a wealthy merchant. They are selling these healing salves made from the lanolin of the sheep. So it's like a merger, a family merger. So
oh,
he's going out to meet his betrothed, and that's what's setting him in this direction.
okay. And the betrothed is super far away.
I'm thinking that's what brings him to Ervocale, that,
Okay,
he's gonna meet with this merchant's daughter in
in
one of the
Ervocale.
bigger cities there. Yeah.
Okay, so there are. Let's go back to the Ervocale map. Got to save my work. So now there's a new thing. Saved. Okay. Now, Ervocale. The largest city in Ervocale is one that I said the only thing is dragons. There's a couple things I put on here. Equinfort is the capital of Ervocale, kind of in the middle here. The other larger cities are Gentasset and Eshtadrum. There are there's this larger city and this larger city to be named yet. Um, and you don't have to name them. You don't have to. You could pick one of the ones that's already there, but just and then
Where are we starting? In
can you see my cursor kind of circling around
I
here?
can see. Yep.
Yep. Okay. Right around here.
Yeah.
So like the question for me is are you on your way or did you already meet your betrothed?
Well, that's the problem, see, she's gone missing, which is interesting because
Yeah,
Chris's character
yeah.
has somebody who's actually in the same age bracket who's gone missing as well. And so I thought that was really interesting. It's like, well, there's 2 people that
Okay.
have gone missing now, but, so I think it would make sense. What is that? I can't my bifocals, Gentarit, or it's kind of that port
Right here.
city.
This is Gentasset. Um,
Fantastic. Okay, yeah,
okay.
I can really read. Yeah. That might have been the city that he
Oh,
was supposed to meet her in.
it's actually Centasset because I've been misreading it.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
amazing what happens when you can
When
zoom in.
when you
But
zoom, yeah.
yeah. So if he was supposed to meet her there, and that was when he learned that she had gone missing, and he's trying to figure out what happened. Hazel Shade, that area that we'll be starting in, is it would make sense then why he's in that area.
Okay. Perfect. And so you go to Centasset, find that this person you're supposed to meet is missing, and take up the quest, so to speak.
Yeah, pretty much, it's like, well, I'm here. Got to figure out what to do now.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got it. Okay. So let's chat a little bit about being a cleric. What do
right.
you see that being?
Well, and I had actually given that some thought, and I don't know cuz like when you were describing, first of all, it kind of being like a while back you said something about like the Greek gods, but that made me think a little bit more portfolio-y, so then it's
Yeah,
like
that is a problem.
unfortunately,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're like the
'Cause
Greek.
now as you're saying this, I'm like, "Well, I don't know then if it fits as well with, kind of how I envisioned, um, the
We
way
can
they worshipped."
we can make it
So,
fit.
I can share a little bit about what I had thought, like this peaceful village that, really depends a lot on nature, because the domains, I guess I was kind of thinking of, like, the different cleric domains as well, right? So, like,
No, that's
um
yeah, totally.
everybody in Earl's in Aspenvale, that his brother is in a church that worships kind of a that nature domain where it's they call her the life mother or the mother of all, and that's where you know that's the only acceptable goddess to worship really in that area. Um, but that's not Earl's deity. Earl had found when he was visiting the village one day, somebody was selling, different things, and he found a book that had a nine-pointed star on the cover, and it just kind of seemed interesting to him. He was reading about it, and he learned of a different deity called, in the name that it was represented in the book was the Eternal Spark,
Mm.
and so he found, and it's very poetic. It's not like a instruction manual, but it's just more like poems or metaphors, and talked about a forbidden union between the life mother and the eternal spark that created these crystals that were like seeds, and he just was fascinated by these things, and so he's an arcana cleric, and he's recently just discovered he's had some ability with magic that he never had before, because I guess technically he wasn't really worshiping the life mother very much, and so now he's maybe trying to redefine his faith, but worshiping a god that's considered kind of heretical in his hometown. So he's not very open about it with others.
Okay. That is a great story, and there is absolutely no reason why that can't work. Um, like I don't know if you took out portfolio stuff out of it, but like the way I was seeing it was, you know, there's not a god of magic per se, but each god could give magical gifts to a worshiper. And
Sure.
so if all of your people worship this one dragon and all of a sudden you find the book of this one might be like, well, you're going to get this gift from me because you found me or you did whatever.
Hmm.
It doesn't necessarily matter because or one might that might just be the dragon that's really into magic and some of them are more into it and some of them are less, but it's not necessarily that they have that title. That's just their essence is worshipped by this person. And
Yeah,
you
I
can do
think
whatever you
because
want
of
with
the
it.
different domains of, like, you'd expect him to be a nature cleric based on where he's
Mm-hmm.
from and what it's all about. And
Sure.
so I was thinking of gods and goddesses kind of in the sense of the domains of magic, because I was coming from that cleric base, but I didn't have like a dragon in mind,
Right.
like for each type. It's just that's what they call the deities that they worship.
Sure. Do you have, or do you want to leave it open to interpretation, i.e., I get to choose at a time of in the game, uh, a color dragon that this, or a type of dragon, a gem or a whatever? Did you have one in mind that you wanted it to be? And it can be any.
I don't know because I don't have Fizbanes. So
Okay.
I'm not overly, like, I know just generically that, chromatic dragons have been bad and metallic dragons have been good, and
Yeah.
but I don't really know enough about dragons myself. And I kind of feel like that would be fitting though of my character. Like, he wouldn't necessarily know a lot about the dragons either.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he's worshiping the name that he's heard, or his people have been worshiping this name that they've heard, but it's not like they're saying it's like, oh, the life mother is this dragon. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the avatar,
Right. Correct. Yeah. Absolutely.
so
That's how I see it too. Um. So, okay. I just asked just in case you had
yeah,
you had
no, I
a
think it would be
flavor.
fun to have it be like open to, because like he's trying to discover and define his faith, and the unknown kind of makes it that much more interesting.
Sure. Well, and like that's the thing is I don't know. Like at level 1 you're not likely to meet one of the gods.
Nope.
But the when I said they're like the Greek gods, more I meant like they interact,
Yeah,
and that's why there's Dragonborn and kobolds and
that makes
other
sense.
things out there. And but unlike the Greek gods or the Roman gods, they don't have necessarily a specific portfolio. Um, they just sort of do the best they can for the people who, well, they don't do the best they can. They do what they want, but some of them do the best they can for the people who worship them. And I have a lot of that really out there loosey goosey right now. There's no. I'm waiting to hear if there's anything that you guys want in there, and then I'll start solidifying that. So,
I
cool.
did come up with the creation myth
Oh,
because the last time you guys were talking about it, I'm like, well, I would think that that would be something I should have at least some idea of for,
yeah,
my
let's hear it.
character. So in Aspen Vale they talk about how once all was one. It was unified. And so it was one great dragon that like flew over the chaos. And as the dragon roared, that's how creation of different peoples and places and land masses. And yet, with every roar, there was a division, a split. And so the dragons, instead of being this multicolored, multifaceted great dragon, became the different colors and the different, and with each division became strife and competition. And so at 15 the decision was to stop because that would be and they have the separation. And so that was kind of the creation myth, with each roar became more defined creation. And so the people of Aspen Vale, they see themselves under this life mother. They don't know necessarily what dragon that is, but she's the one that sustains their life. And so they don't want to invoke the jealousy of the other dragons. They worship her. They have the rituals that they observe. So that's how I envisioned kind of the story that Earl heard growing up.
I like it.
Whether there's any truth to it or not, I don't know, but that's what he has been taught.
I like that. I think that's great. Because there's no reason why there should be only one creation myth. It's one of the
Right. I
things like,
figure people can say like the world is on the back of a turtle.
yep,
This makes as much sense as anything.
I I had written a thing for one of the creation myths being the elements and eggs popping out of them, which
Oh
actually
yeah.
which actually comes from a Native American myth, and it, uh, it just, or a creation story, I should say, just to say, uh, but the but that doesn't mean it's the only one for Navyshla.
Hmm.
This is what those people believe,
My
and
little isolated
yeah,
peoples of Aspen Vale, yes.
why not? Why not? Okay, so we've got where you come from, we've got where you're going, we've got who you're looking for, we got a little bit about your family, got a
Hmm.
little bit about your culture. Um, what I'm planning to have as a later conversation with the whole group is things that happen to your character on the way to getting to Ashenbane,
Right.
um, just in case there's any bumping uh, into each other. But um, I do have the question generally of, do you want to start the adventure when we finally get there with that's the day you arrive, sort of like Ravanus. Ravanus walks into the bar and the adventure
Yeah.
begins, right? So, uh, or do you want to have been there for a little while, or what?
Probably maybe a few days to a week.
Okay,
Yeah. Just trying to pick up on leads and figure out what that next step, you know, trying to track down a missing person, and is probably about as good at that as he's been good at anything else he's tried to do. And he's way out of his element. So,
he's way out of his element. Okay,
hmm.
so let's go over to a new map. Nope, not a brand new map. I'm not making a new map while we're talking here. That always opens the wrong one. So I have to do it this way. Open, not recent, because you don't work. Oh no, I lost this map. I always saved over it. I have to make it again.
Oh, I
I
remember
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
keep forgetting that I saved over this map. Sweet. All right. Well, we can't go to that one. I have to rebuild it. But we can go to Ashenbane. Okay. So this is the small town we're beginning in.
Mhm.
Um, so as a reminder, and I don't know that I actually asked. Keep saying this. I don't know if I asked Ed this, and then Ed pops in. You did, but I don't know if I asked Ed this. I don't know if I asked Dawson this. I know I asked Dusty, and I know I asked Chris. Um, if you've been here a couple of days now, Dusty's character's been in and out of here for a long time, to the point where she knows some of the locals, and she named one of the locals. Um, when Chris said he'd been here a couple of days, and he is staying at the Owl and Empress, which is the only inn in town. Owl and Empress is right here.
Mhm.
And what he did was kind of give the sort of personality and a little bit of what this bartender was known for, which is making Bloody Marys. Uh, would there be, so to tell you a little bit about Ashenvane, it is a mining town with two mines. Uh, they mine. Let me. We've got one mine opening over here. I don't know if you can see my cursor going,
Yeah.
and one over here. I have done nothing about that other than in my head they are rival rich people who do not actually come from Ashenvane, who are speculative interest in finding I don't even know what yet. Um, or they have found it and I don't even know what yet. Like, is it gold? Is it diamonds? Is it
Mm.
iron ore? Is it whatever? But that's that. The town is ruled by a mayor. So it's governed by a mayor, and they have a small constabulary. That's it. That's all I know about Ashenvane. So, would you want to stay in the inn, or would you have made a friend with a farmer, or given your sheeping background?
Mm. Yeah, but he's not really good with sheep.
That's right. He sucked at
Um,
shepherding. That's right.
yeah,
So,
the wolves get him every
mhm.
time. So I think he'd actually be interested in the mines because he wants to find one of these crystals that he's been
Oh,
reading so much about. And so this seems like a really powerful distraction for me to, like he's supposed to be finding this woman who he's never met and has absolutely no desire to marry. These crystals seem like a much better thing to explore.
I got ya. Got ya. Okay. Left or right, or west or east? This is north is up. I'm trying to make all my maps go north is up because I hate that.
um, West, the left.
All right, to the west. All
Yeah, that
right.
one looks good.
All right. So, just gonna put a little label on it.
So yeah, I mean, he'd probably stay in the inn, but look to make friends with whatever rich person owns that mine to see if, what are you mining? What kind of things are you finding in there?
And you are looking for what kind of crystal? Do you know?
Not really. It's
Okay.
just like the book talks about how not every crystal obviously has this kind of power, but some crystals have magical power. They're like the co-creation of life and magic, and you know, he's just enthralled by this concept. And again, I don't know if those really exist, but he's convinced they are and wants to find them.
Sure. Okay. So this is a diamond mine, and or at least it hopes to be. Um, it's not gonna be Earl's mine. I just naming it that so that I remember. Um, so let's say that you meet this rich person who is this. I mean, this person's not in there. That this is not like Prospector Pete. This is a wealthy person who was hired. professionals to mine this. Um, and I'm gonna say rich person is gonna live in this house here, near the mine.
Nice
And
house.
yeah, I'll make that a nicer house. And is this a man or a woman, or gender non-specific, gender non-binary?
Hmm. I think of it as maybe an older woman,
Older woman.
like approaching elderly even.
Okay. Elderly woman. Okay. And um,
She's still really spry, you
okay.
know, but yeah.
Human.
Um, that's a good question. Are there hmm, what is the composition of this area, like, demographic-wise?
One of the things that I've been sort of leaning towards is that um, humans, halflings, elves, and dwarves, the token sort of groupings,
Okay.
are fairly common. But it's humans who like having these sort of towns. So if you
I
go to a
think
town,
yeah.
it's mostly human, but there are elves, halflings, half elves, dwarves that do live in the towns. So it's
Human probably would be a good choice then. I mean,
okay.
Earl's from a area
I
that
didn't
is
even ask. Earl's
predominantly
human, right?
yeah, he's human and
Yeah.
his, his village and area is predominantly human. Again, maybe some elves and half elves,
Mhm.
but it's even halflings and dwarves are kind of new for him to be interacting with. And so I think he would gravitate to familiar just because
Mhm.
he's already feeling a little overwhelmed by the big world.
Okay.
And what's safer than an old little old lady, right?
Okay. Is she nice to Earl?
Um,
Is is she taken with his somewhat impetuous enthusiasm towards mineralogy?
I think she I think he'd be able to speak well enough, like coming from a noble family that they might have some mutual respect. I don't see it as being like, friendly necessarily or like, more than just professional, but maybe she would have some idea like, okay, maybe there's a business venture here or this is somebody that's coming from a family of high birth or something, so
Okay.
it's like I think there's even a trait in his background that allows him to have
Mm-hmm.
conversations like that. So
There
I wouldn't
is. I
say it's
remember that.
overly friendly, but it's you know, a civil kind of professional interaction.
Okay.
She's not a hag, Ed.
If an old woman comes into the game, it's never 100%, which is a shame. That's a terrible, terrible trope. There should be men hags. Um, mags.
Meg, yeah. That's
Um,
funny.
so, okay. So you've been here a couple weeks. Have you gone in the mine yet?
If I'm allowed. Oh yeah.
I see.
I
I
probably bumble around. Sure.
maybe you're given a tour.
Mhm.
Okay.
Maybe I can, see if I can find where where there's little stones I could pick up or,
Okay.
like
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So you've alluded to this. I just want to make sure I'm picking up what you're laying down. You've been in Ashen Vein for a week, a couple days to a week.
Right.
Um, you were at Centesset. Your betrothed was not there. You caught wind that perhaps she's been taken and moving west. You accepted the responsibility for finding, because I'm going to back up to that in a second here. I just wanted to get
Mhm.
us to the starting point, but now I want to back up a little bit.
Yep.
Uh,
I
uh,
mean, I feel like I should look for her. I mean, that's the decent thing to do, right?
right. Okay. Well, just establishing that Earl is decent.
I mean, he
Uh,
tries to be decent, but he's also kind of flighty. There's a bigger, shinier thing in front of him, you know?
got it. So that I just wanted to you know. So he's been here a couple days. It's not a huge place, so he's pretty sure she's not here. Does she have a name?
Oh,
By the way, I haven't
yes.
asked.
Her name is Kari
Kari.
Matoya. Mhm.
Matoya, okay.
Yeah.
And she is from Ervokale, or is
She's
Ervokale
from
a
that
halfway?
Centasset from
She
Cent
she
so
is
she
from Centasset on
Yep,
Ervokale. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
That's where her family so I'm sure there's other people looking for her too. It's not just Earl. It's not all on his shoulders. And if she isn't found, I mean, that's
Is
okay.
Kari is Matoya?
Mhm.
Are the Matoyas also then nobles, or are they like
They're a wealthy merchant
wealthy
family.
merchants? So
Yeah.
okay, that's what you said. So this is the
Mhm.
bringing the money into the and getting the noble title,
Right.
cutesy thing. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Very.
And Earl's not really I mean, he wants to bring honor to his family, whatever, but he's not really into all this, so,
He's like
you know.
in the movie Brave, like one of the sons that's supposed to be betrothed to Merida. Um,
No, I've not seen that movie.
oh,
Sometimes I feel like my hair is like that, but I
uh,
I haven't ever watched that movie.
it is a
Oh,
delightful movie. I enjoy that one a great deal. Um,
yeah.
but uh, anyway, the three lamos, just couldn't be bothered. They don't want to be there. She doesn't want them. That's
Right.
uh,
Yeah. I mean, he's got nothing against her, but he doesn't even know her. They've never met. His brother just thinks it could be a good match,
could bring
blah,
some
blah, blah.
cash in.
What else do I have to do, right?
Right. Serve the family.
Mhm.
Um, so you have now a connection then in Centasset, which would be this wealthy family, the I want to Matoya,
Mhm.
um, and uh, how important are they in Centasset?
Oh, I mean, gosh, I hadn't really thought about it. I don't really see them as being like so important that the whole town's on high alert or it's probably someone who is again a wealthier family in the area and so the absence of the daughter would be felt. People would perhaps like maybe some other um wannabe suitors would be like I'll find her, that type
Mm,
of thing.
okay.
But you know, I don't know how to really represent that, but I wouldn't think it's like the wealthiest family. It's just, they've got a good thing going and they'll be able to sell more of their product if they have this sheep connection.
I love that. That
I
might
tried to take really, mundane things and make it part of my character's
Well,
backstory.
but that would
So,
be real, right? Like, I mean,
yeah.
life is built out of mundanity. Uh,
Mhm.
the, the so here's the in Ervocale, I keep saying that all I've done is this, and then I say, well, that's a lie. There is a council that is elected from the major districts. Centasset would be a player in picking one of the high councilors.
Oh, okay.
The reason I ask the question is would they be high enough where they might even be interested in running for that?
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely. I think that would make sense where
okay.
it's like, hey, if we marry our daughter off to this noble family, that might, make us
Raise our
more in
profile.
contention for the yeah,
Mm.
that makes sense.
Okay. So now here's another fun, just making it up on the spot. Earl meets these parents.
Mhm.
Daughter's been missing for, shall we roll a die, days?
Yeah, we can make it random.
What D do you want me to roll?
What
Because
do
you've been
you
because you have been on the water for at least 5 or 6 days, and a
Yeah,
message wouldn't get to you. So
right.
how many days?
Gosh,
D4, D6, D8.
let's do a D8. It could be a long time.
Well, it could also be one day. Because
Yep.
just all right, here we go. 8 days.
Oh, see, yeah.
All
Oh, they
right.
must be frantic.
Frantic, and some of these suitors have already left. They've got the hoofs on you. They're
Ah,
they've already
I'm
left.
never gonna beat these guys. They know what they're doing. They know the land.
How much time do you spend with this family? Have you named them? If not, I will name them happily later. But
Just the last name. I
okay,
don't know the parents.
the
Yeah.
Medoyas. How long do you spend time with them before you set out?
Oh man. Probably as little time as I possibly need to. Like, I do the, oh gosh, yes, now I must be on my way and I will find her. I'm gonna, I've already, yeah, all these people got a head start on me. I better get going.
Is
So
that chicken? I'll have some
awkward.
chicken. I'm kidding.
You know?
I don't want to get going. Um, okay, so you did not spend a ton of time there.
No,
Okay.
no.
Enough time to maybe get a take on the family. Other than we're going to establish they have some ambitions.
Yeah,
They have some
yeah.
ambitions, whether those are altruistic, they wish to serve, or they thirst for power, but they have some ambition. Do you get
Hmm.
the sense that these are decent people by the way they react to their daughter's
They seem
disappearance?
legitimately concerned, I
Okay.
would say.
Okay.
I mean, I think, after she's been missing that long, it'd be hard to really get a sense of like what kind of leaders they would be, or it's just distraught parents more than anything. Especially, I don't know if there are other disappearances in the area. There might be some fears behind this if people are finding loved ones going missing.
True. Okay. That is a good start. So then, from Centacid, Ashenvane is really just right here. Not very far at all.
He hasn't got that far
He's gotten a
before he gets distracted.
yeah. He's probably traveled about a day.
That sounds like Earl.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's how you picture him. Okay, perfect.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not
Oh,
anything like he had no
yes.
intention of getting distracted, but it's like he doesn't know where to go next or what he's doing. He tried tracking and it's just not his thing. So, I don't know.
You gotta lean into something. Um.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me. Let's see. Just because we have a little bit of lore built around the waters around Irvokale. You have already said you're a halfling would be just an interesting thing. Any,
Gosh, yeah. I don't think he's ever really met a halfling before.
yeah, he's about to. Uh, uh, so going into the here, let's see if I can zoom this out enough. Okay, we got Aspen Vale up here. I'll have to look at, but it's got to have been a multi-week journey actually. To do, I think.
That works though, because I think
Yeah,
of the merchants having to take their wares quite a distance. And, back in Garland, in the village, you hear of stories from far away, but it feels so far away. So I mean, this is a real big trip for Earl.
yeah, this would be a huge trip for just about anybody. This
Hmm.
is a trip of some um, 1,100 miles. I mean, that's a good chunk through the United States, even. Um,
Yeah.
so, uh, so that gets you there. The the flotilla of Ed's folk flow all the way up through the Keeling Sea here. So it is possible you may have seen a giant flotilla. Um, but since you were saying a halfling would be an interesting thing, we'll leave that for later.
Hmm.
Did you have like was this like getting on a merchant vessel that was sailing from Aspenvale with like wool or and you're
Well,
just traveling with the merchants, or are you on a
I
nice
think I
ship?
had some escorts. I mean, maybe it
Okay.
wasn't the nicest ship, but it was like a faster ship. The idea to get there and,
You have
kind of show off a little bit.
do you have like people? Like do you want to have up
I
uh
had people,
okay.
but they kind of got separated from me
Oh,
along the way.
where
I don't
how did
have
they
them
get
anymore.
separated? You don't want to have people? Okay.
Well, I think it's
Oh,
I
I
think
did
it
I mute you?
it could go either way.
What did I
Maybe they
do?
catch up with me again. Oh, are you still there? Did you lose me?
I did something.
I don't know if anyone can hear me, but if Paul can't
I
hear me,
cannot hear you at all. Um, and I don't know
did
why.
you Oh, Ed hears me. Hi, Ed. How you doing tonight? It's really good to see you in the chat. The one person who I'm talking to here can't hear me. So you're doing as well as could be expected. Yeah. And Paul has no idea. I'm sorry. It's really not funny. I wonder. I don't even know how, like, it's weird. Can't communicate.
I can't hear anything. I got no volume on anything. I can see that I'm going through, but it's not coming into my headphones, which means I can't hear Robyn.
Yeah.
So I wonder if I need to plug in. Like maybe.
Oh, that might work. Does that work?
Hello?
I can
Oh,
hear
I
you.
got you.
Okay. I've been able to hear you the whole time. And then I was just talking to Ed because, he could hear me out there.
Gotcha. Sorry about that. I think I flipped, and I thought I adjusted back. I flipped to game only on the
Ah,
headset,
yep.
and I thought I put it back, but clearly I didn't. So okay, um,
No, what
I'm
I was
lost.
saying though is like, I'm okay with the escorts kind of catching up at some point, but I just figured it would be more fun to start. Not that I threw them, but like maybe there was some sort of, incident that happened that separated us. And right now I'm bumbling along without them. So, but I left with people. They were supposed to escort me to meet this young woman, and somehow we got separated.
I have this, and I know Ed's going to get this right away, but I have this picture. He speaks a dozen languages. He'll blend in, and Brody once lost himself in his own museum.
That's right. Okay. Yep.
That's
That's kind of it, right?
this is like you guys are walking through. I mean, Centessa is not a huge city. It's a big city for Irvokale, but it's
Mhm.
not huge. And you get lost from each other in the village green, like during a market day, and never find each other again. And
Mhm.
maybe your minders are like, whatever, we're going home. I I don't know. Or
Yeah,
maybe they've been looking for you and they're not really good at their jobs either.
that could be.
That would be fun. Yeah, we named the dog Indiana. So,
Maybe it's like Biggs and Wedge, because
oh,
you know, just not very good at what they do, but they show up in every Final Fantasy installment. So not really everyone, but
well, Biggs can only show up to that first one. I don't know about Final Fantasy, but I know in Star Wars he doesn't quite make it out of the first
oh,
one. Wedge makes it to all of
gotcha.
them. Biggs, yeah, I guess it wasn't like dusting crops. So, uh, we've got a couple hooks here. We have the missing betrothed. We have your minders. We have you connected with, and we have you connected with. Do you want to name, or shall I name the wealthy mine expert?
Do you have I know you have stuff that names places. Do you have something that names people?
I use a bunch of websites that like, hey, name this person for me, and then because I like to think of them on my own sometimes, but I find when I do, and God, is Winston still in the chat? Yeah, I come up with things that can turn into GIMP stuff really fast, and I'm just
Oh,
like Mike, like Matt Mercer, honestly, with Purvis and
oh gosh,
yeah.
yeah.
So if I use the name generators, I tend not to end up feeling bad if I come up with a name I didn't
If it's
say out loud
Purvis.
enough.
Yeah.
So,
So, I think either you can or a name generator. I came up with all of his brothers and his
oh,
younger sister and his
oh,
parents.
oh,
I have enough names that
okay.
I'm not a big fan of names, so
Is there a sibling that you are most attached to,
yeah,
and one
well,
that you
okay,
are
so
not so fond of?
what's kind of fun well, Earl was a character that I created in the original Final Fantasy game when I played with my brother years ago.
Oh,
You could only
nice.
have four-letter names, so we were just putting all kinds of names in there, and Earl was the red mage. So he was the one of the ones that we created. And so I named all his family members. So his older brother Abel, Bart, Carl, Dale. So ABCD, he's Earl. And then his younger sister Faye is his closest sibling.
Okay.
So she's the one that he's the fondest of.
F A
And
Y
I
E.
Faye,
Yep.
absolutely. And I think he probably has the hardest time with Bart, who's in the like the nature church, just
Mm,
because he had to try to work under him for a while and it just wasn't a good fit and he doesn't have that aptitude and so there's some conflict. Not, they're still, brothers. They get a they care about each other. It's not like hatred, but it's just not a close relationship.
got it. I love when somebody tells me they've named like six family members because that's like naming your horse.
Yep. Well, it's
So,
because it's the alphabet. I thought like,
no, I
"Oh,
love
it's
it.
funny. If he's the 5th son and his name starts with E, then I need to come up with." Yeah, I don't know.
I did not play Final Fantasy, um, ever. Uh, do you go through characters pretty quickly?
Um,
Like was Earl the fifth one you came up for, for that spot?
no, so,
Uh,
like, they're the warriors of light, and
okay,
there's this crystal, so I tried to bring in elements
nice.
of the original game, which had, like, very little story because it's, like, NES, right?
Yeah,
So you had 4 warriors of light that you named and created, and you're with them all the way through, and the thing about the red mage who becomes the red wizard, they do a little bit of everything, but they don't do anything really great. So they
yeah.
don't learn all the powerful white magic, they don't learn the powerful black magic, they're not the greatest fighter. They're just average in a lot of different areas. So it was just kind of a that's the kind of motivation behind Earl is to bring him to life now as an adult rather than as a 10-year-old.
That's awesome. I love it. Love it. You could kind of think of that as being like a Swiss Army mage. Not a great screwdriver, but if nobody else can be a screwdriver, you're
Yeah.
what you got.
Yeah,
So
and he just was one that's like, "Well, whatever, we're gonna do this next thing," and what I don't know.
I
I'll do my best. It'll be average, but I might help you enough to get through. So,
well you are
and for whatever reason, this character could not hit wolves to save his life. Like every time it would miss, every time it would miss. So I have a special animosity against wolves as
that's
Earl. Hmm.
I love it. You are totally encouraged to take the standard array. No, you can do whatever you want to do for rolling, but if you want to go average, you could roll up Winston's Ranger,
Yeah, Bob.
Bob, ninth or 11 all the way across the board.
Oh man.
Uh, I think he might have had a 12 in there somewhere. Uh, all right. Well, let's check the 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 one note checklist to see
All right.
if we have covered the things that we're supposed. Well, we're not supposed to cover anything. We can cover what we want. Cover what I want. All right. Who named you? Are there naming conventions for your culture? Does your name have? We just did
Four-letter
that.
names.
Four-letter names in alphabetical order. Do your people have an ancestral home? If so, are you there? If not, is there a reason? I think we covered that.
Mhm.
How does your background inform your character's story? Motivate? Yep, we covered that. Does your background relate to your place of origin? Absolutely. Why did your character become this class? We got the story of finding the tome. Uh,
Yeah.
Mechanical terms. Ooh, I can't read that. What does that say? How are they no longer a commoner? Uh, you have some, obviously, of cantrips and first level
Mhm.
spells at this point.
Couple
So yeah,
couple spells.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you've
So
discovered
it's
that through working with this book and
yeah, the
communing
more I
with the
read it and just really tried to understand it, it just seemed like it clicked.
God
I don't
and
know. For
and
the
then the
first time, something seems to be working here.
have you watched the Dragon Prince on Netflix at all?
Yeah, I watched not the whole thing, but I watched a good portion of it.
I
Never
think they have
it.
3 seasons right now. They are backlogging 4, 5, 6, and 7 all to come out in the next couple of years.
Oh, wow.
It's Vex's and my show we watched together,
Yeah,
and
I like that show. I should really finish watching it.
the mage, like the kid who's discovering he has magic, um, is sort of like, and I can do this
Yes,
because I
yeah.
can't do anything else.
Mhm. Yep,
Yeah,
that's
it's
exactly it.
uh, ex-
Light! Oh, look what I can do!
exactly. Can you, that I but see I love that. That's sort of what I want to bring into this kind of game is like if a character can create light out of nothing, but everybody else has got to sit there with flint and tinder. I'd love to have that wonder be back a little bit.
Yeah. I
D and
mean, I
D
wasn't
isn't
able to do that
really
before, now I can do it, it's kinda neat.
right. The excitement of having a cantrip that has to be like. I mean, if I could cast light spell, I'd be pretty excited. If I could do anything with if I could pronounce prestidigitation, or what's the other one?
Thaumaturgy?
Thaumaturgy. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I could do that, like make doors close just by willing it, that's awesome. Anyway,
Mhm.
uh,
Little bit of frost, a little bit of fire, a little bit of light.
all the little bits,
Keep you from dying, it's great.
somebody had
I
come
don't know
up with
where this
that,
comes from.
but it's awesome.
Yeah.
Motivation. What is your character's primary motivation goal? Well, it's a toss up between the crystal and kind of finding this person.
I think it's probably more the crystal.
Yep.
He would tell people it's to find the girl
Right.
or woman,
Yeah.
but,
But not
it's
really.
not really. I mean, I don't know, it'd be hard. Like, if she were gonna die or something, obviously,
Okay.
I'd pick her.
I think
Hopefully.
you've answered all of these. Um, what scares your character? Wolves?
Oh, wolves,
Yeah.
definitely. They're
Uh,
fast, and they've got sharp teeth, and
well,
they just snatch a sheep and take off with it, and then you get blamed, and then if you think it's a wolf and you say, "Oh, there's a wolf," and then people are like, "There was no wolf," then you get, accused of crying wolf. They're just awful
and
creatures.
there's not a lot good that goes with it other than T-shirts from the mall. There's not a lot going on for wolves. That's cool.
No.
Well, side of vans. Um, but I guess airbrushing in general.
So
The
wolves are a very real fear, but there's also this fear that like he'll never find the thing that's his
is
thing
good.
and just be average his entire life. Nobody wants
Nobody
that,
does
do
want
they?
that. I aim to be well rounded so I can roll downhill. I am looking through here and we have got all of those answered. We did, wow, even the what fuels your folks' economy. Uh,
Yes. I looked it up and I even found like what kind of plants make red dye in our world
oh,
because maybe there's the similar plants in Aspen Vale
cool.
because he wears the red cloak
Okay.
and his younger sister is a weaver.
Oh,
So she made the cloak for him. It's a very precious possession of his.
nice.
Mhm.
Perfect. Got the legends and myths, creation story. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground. If I check off the world building we did, we have populated a part of the world that, I mean, we've actually gone quite far north in the world. Um, Up here to Aspen Vale, that is now named. This volcanic island that is now pastoral in its caldera and has rams and sheep and wolves apparently,
Oh, they're
and
awful.
red dyes. Well, I mean, Mike Shea says he uses wolves all the time as an example of a wolf to a level 1 character. There is nothing that scales to how dangerous a wolf is to a level 1 character, to a level
There's
5,
more
to
than
a level
one.
10, or to level 20.
They gang up on you.
He's like, the game is really, the CR ratings are really hard for level 1 through 5, and then it never catches back up. Like once you're
Well,
level 5, almost nothing can touch you. I mean,
yeah,
they
but
could hurt you.
wolves are scary. In
Wolves are scary.
a
Yep.
pack of wolves. That's
Hey,
not. And sometimes they're really big wolves.
yeah, I mean, that can get dire. Um, so, on that joke, I think
Mhm.
we'll start bringing
Are
it
you
to a
gonna
close.
name the
Yep.
old lady, or are you gonna do that
Oh, do
like
you want to
out?
do it? Let's
I, well, I
let's
think
name the
we
old
should
lady.
do it right now.
Yeah,
I'm
let's do it.
sorry, but
No, for
before we
sure,
leave, I think it'd be fun.
for sure. My problem is always that the OBS knows
Oh,
which window I'm looking at. So if I open a new window to look, and I just forgot to, okay, RPG name generator human. All right, I don't want to use fantasy name generator because I use that too much. I'm going to use this one, the Story Shack email. I love it already. All right, her name is Salma
oh,
Reldret.
that is awesome,
Yes,
Selma.
I will paste it in the Discord. Uh, so let's see, Navyshla, Lauren chat. The owner of the West Mine is Selma Reldret. All right. Ah,
Awesome.
perfect. All right, and I will create a. Um, I have a couple characters that I have to create um, NPC sheets for and World Anvil stuff, so you guys can see that. Um, just bring this up quickly. The World Anvil is here, so as I start creating stuff, there will be articles, timelines, maps, etc. So if you are interested, you can go to that and check that out. It will look prettier as we go. I have spent no money on it. I will eventually. But I think, Robyn, I think we did it. We got through it.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yay.
We
Phew.
named an island, we didn't necessarily name a city on Urvokale, but I don't think we needed to.
No.
Named
Figured I'd use what was there.
named a quasi noble, a up and coming family of Urvokale, who has some ambitions towards power. We have a another bit of geography named and placed in Ashenvane. So pretty good stuff. And we got to know Earl, fifth son of the High Shepherd.
Yeah. Everything
Earl
you need to know, you now know.
Earl Everly
Sinclair.
Sinclair.
Mhm.
Beautiful. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for us for tonight. When next we come back, to be determined, it will be everybody. We'll have a party discussion about what's going on and how everybody's connected, and that'll be the last thing we do before I start doing all my secretive stuff. Although it's not going to be that secretive because I'm probably going to do it online. But I'll try to keep some secrets away from people that I'll just do without broadcasting it. But I think I'll be making maps of cities and towns and stuff and talking to myself here on Building Navyshla. And then maybe asking if people want to get involved in some way, shape, or form down the road. But in any case, If you haven't, and you're new to this channel and you just wandered in here, please give us a follow. Helps us out a ton. Um, if you know somebody who you think might like the content we're doing on here, please refer them to us. Love to have a follow, mostly because we'd like to monetize some things for charity. That's the give part of the roleplay give, but we're building towards it, taking our time. Uh, it's kind of like finding a lost betrothed. We'll get to it. Right now, we're working on the
There's
crystals.
pretty crystals in
That's
the
right.
way.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got
you gotta get
got to
that.
do that first. So, but in any case, until we're back online again, which I think will be this upcoming Sunday with Against the Giants, roll some dice, play some games, and give of your time of treasure to a cause that you find important. And otherwise, we're going to call it a night. Bye, everybody.